Yep, guys. Okay, so here's what he's asking basically. He wants to know, our caller does, is all this stuff worth it? Are the pills worth it? Are we used to call them pills, potions, and all that good stuff, right? Are they worth it, right?
Elixirs.
The protein powders, elixirs is a great one. All of the supplements and how they're encapsulated and this and that and so on. When you get into vitamins and you get into minerals and you get into that whole field of supplementation, couple rule of thumb apply. One of them is that the lion's share of the raw materials that are used in vitamins come from the exact same three distributors globally.
Oh.
There's three major companies that produce all the raw material for almost every vitamin that's sold on the market. So you're getting them from one of three places. So when someone's sitting there saying, oh my gosh, ours is better than yours because of blah, we're all buying it at the same Kmart. That's just how it works, right? Everyone's going to the same place and getting the same raw material. So then the question becomes, how much of it's in there? Like I do a lot with enzyme work, right? Enzymes are kind of the big thing that I do in my practice. There are 2 enzyme manufacturers of raw material in the world. 2. Everybody gets theirs from the same spot. Now, I know like Howard Loomis, who I do a lot of work with, Howard doesn't practice well, in my opinion, from a business model standpoint. So let me put this for you. If I were going to make a supplement, say I were going to make a multivitamin, I probably could make the strongest, most powerful multivitamin you could buy for maybe $2, $2.50, and that's bottle labeling included. Then they'll turn around and sell that to you for $40. That's the profit margin. Now that's coming from manufacturer out to distributor, out to physician, out to, because they have to have multiple markups built into that. Now when I've talked to Howard about this in the past, he, from a business standpoint, doesn't do a very good job because he wants the product to be as good as it possibly can be. So there's not a lot of room for error there. He really tries to stay as close as he can to the actual manufacturing cost. So what it costs him within really a 20% is what you're getting it for. And that's the actual manufacturer's cost. So then when I compare supplements across the board, I say, well, his enzyme product says this, and say it costs $40 hypothetically. But this one over here says, man, it's got 10 times as much and it's only $12.95. It can't. It can't. Because the raw materials alone cost way more than that, which means they've watered it down. Now, when you're buying things over the counter, especially vitamins, they're going to water it down because they have to be afraid that you're going to put it in your ear and cause problems. And we are a company or a country that likes to sue, for lack of better words. We like to look for fault in people. And so they have to be very cautious of this. Therefore, most of the things you buy commercially over the counter are extremely watered down. Now, on top of that, are there any benefits to them? I think in extreme nutritional deficiencies or in disease states, yeah, you can get some benefit out of it, but the same way you would from a drug, right? It works the same pathway, the same mechanism. You're just literally trying to put anything in there when nothing's going in. So there's some benefit there. But for overall maintaining health and trying to balance the body, there's very little benefit. And that's what you see in all these clinical trials, right? Time and time again, you'll see clinical trials that come out of Johns Hopkins or Harvard or Yale or Duke Medical School, and they're all sitting there saying, look, we tested this, it didn't do anything. We didn't see any advantage, we didn't see any benefit because they're ignoring digestion. And that is the biggest mistake that I see in the nutrition world. So it doesn't matter what field you come out of or what doctor you are. You know, the guys that are sitting there, well, I studied nutrition, I have a master's in dieting and whatever it may be. If you're not dealing in whole food, whole plant, whole herb nutrition, then you're just cookie cutter. Right, you're Betty Crocker doctor. Okay. So if I've got diabetes, I can flip open my book and say, what's it say to do for that? Oh, take these 25 supplements. It's a cookbook. It's not really understanding how and why it works. And my eyes were open to this. Howard, of course, opened my eyes to this a lot because he focused on whole food nutrition. But Chinese medicine, when you get into Chinese herbology, I was never embarrassed more than years ago. I was doing acupuncture work. We went to dinner, And several of my friends, doctors, were all with me. And one of the young doctors in our group, a young female doctor from LA, who is a traditional Chinese medical doctor, was sitting there with us, and we're at this Chinese hot pot where they got all this food. It's almost like a fondue kind of thing, right? But it's a big, so they bring this tray of vegetables and plants, and they pour it in this thing, and she sits there and goes around the table, and she goes, okay, what's this in here for? And she's taking that little strainer. She goes, why is this in here? I'm like, it's a carrot. It tastes good. That's why it's in there. She goes, no, what are the chemical properties of that carrot? Why would they put that carrot in here? And if they put the carrot in, why did they have to put that, that radish or that pepper? Or why is that in here? She knew why each plant was in that soup and the purposes and the properties of each plant that it was donating, so they balanced each other, not just for flavor, but for health benefits. Guys, that's understanding our biology. That's understanding nutrition. When you can grab a handful of plants and go, oh, this one has cooling effects, and this one's warming, and this one offsets the bitters in this one so you can absorb it faster. That's crazy. Let's give you an example. Think of turmeric.
Okay.
Right?
The big thing.
Yeah. Take your turmeric. Oh, we got to have turmeric, right? That's the big thing. And in this country, the herbalists from Europe make fun of us because we're so kindergarten, or they call us kitchen healers, right? We're so kindergarten about what we know. So everyone's out buying turmeric supplements. Oh, take that, because it's going to help my arthritis and my joint pain, this and that. But not if you don't have it mixed with the right things. It has to be with pepper. It has to be, or it does not get absorbed. So if pepper's not with it, it's not going in. And on top of that, it's got to be with a fatty acid. So if you don't have an oil or a fatty acid and pepper, it's not going in. So you're wasting your time and your money on it. Now, the companies that are trying to sell you something, they don't care. We get this stuff for pennies on the dollar. Take it, take it, take it. Well, it didn't work for me. Oh, you didn't take enough. Take more. Now, look at the countries that use that in their food. India is a big one that comes to mind right away.
Right.
How many Indian dishes have you ever had that aren't a little spicy, a little peppery? Have a little fatty, oily mixture to it, right? That's how it works. It's got to have this blend. So the question is great because you're asking me, Doc, what do you think about supplements and pills and capsules and all these things? Well, they're important. They block nutrition. They block absorption. They can interfere with things. I always recommend whole food if you can. But you've got to know, can your body absorb it? Can your body digest it? Can your body utilize it? How do you know? You run an IUP. You run the integrated urinalysis panel. It will flat out tell you what you're using and what you're not. And the good part about it is, guys, it doesn't care what you tell us. It just says this is how your body's doing it. It's a body audit. Where are you spending your resources, and do you have enough to be spending? That's really how it works. Once you know that, it is the gold standard in the field of epigenetics. It flat out tells you, how are you influencing your DNA? Are you using the food you're putting in? And are you getting rid of your waste? Because if you're not doing that, that's what opens you up to chronic disease.